Hello and welcome to our video tutorial covering how to perform and track changes in ONTRAM. Every user in the workflow who's allowed to edit or modify segments can perform changes to target language segments. This video will cover a situation where a translator performs the last translations and finally hands over the task to the proofreading role. After the proofreader receives an ONTRAM notification mail, he logs into the system to work on the job. As the proofreader notices faulty target language segments, he performs several changes to the translations. The video will also cover how the proofreader tracks the changes that he just performed. In the last part of the tutorial, the print workflow role will log in to track all changes that were previously performed by the translating and proofreading workflow role. Peter, who works as a translator for California Inc., has just performed the last translations in the system and is now about to hand over the job to the proofreading role. After handing over, proofreader John receives an ONTRAM notification mail that a job has been transferred to him, so he logs into ONTRAM. While reviewing the segments, he notices that there are faulty translations he wants to modify. To perform changes to certain target language segments, John simply selects the segment and performs the changes by editing the content. Additionally, it makes sense to attach a comment that a change was performed. After John performed all changes on this page of the document, he finally selects the Save icon to save all changes. After John reviewed the rest of the segments and changed one more target language segment, he wants to again display all changes he just performed. Therefore, he selects the View Configuration icon in the upper control bar to add an additional column to display all changes. He could now choose to either display an additional column showing all changes that were performed in the current workflow step or all changes that were performed in the previous workflow step. Changes in current step will display all changes in this workflow step as compared to the previous step. Changes in previous step will display all performed changes in the previous workflow step as compared to its previous workflow step. As John wants to display his individual performed changes, he checkmarks the first option and finally hits Display and Save to add the column. As you can see, ONTRAM now displays an additional column showing all changes orange marked that were performed in this workflow step. John has also the possibility to track all changes that were performed in a certain segment. To activate the Track Changes functionality, John again accesses the View configuration located in the upper control bar and checkmarks Track Changes in the target language column. ONTRAM will then display the Track Changes functionality in the form of a document icon with a pencil. Hitting the icon opens a pop-up window in which the changes at the time of the transfer are marked in color. Track Changes will always display the change that was performed in the previous workflow step. In this case, the translator Peter Summers entered a new translation, what is considered as a change by ONTRAM. It is also possible to track all changes by accessing Reports, Changes in the left navigation. Accessing changes in Reports gives John additional options to display changes between certain workflow steps. He can easily define the range by selecting the roles using the drop-down boxes. In this case, he displays all performed changes since the transfer to proofreading step. He could also add an additional column showing the source language or the target language before changes. After John entered all values, ONTRAM will automatically generate the report. As John finally finished the proofreading task, he now switches to the Job Overview page to hand over the job to the next workflow participant. In order to display all changes that were previously performed, Michael, who is responsible for the print workflow role, now logs into ONTRAM. To directly display all changes, Michael makes use of ONTRAM's filtering options, so he selects Filter in the Job Editing area and filters for workflow changes. ONTRAM will now display all segments where changes were performed in the previous workflow steps. Michael notices that the proofreader added a comment to a target language segment, so he accesses the View configuration to activate the Track Changes functionality in order to analyze the segment. As you can see, both the translator's and proofreader's changes were tracked by the system. We hope you enjoyed watching the How to Perform and Track Changes in ONTRAM video tutorial. Thanks for your time and attention. Whenever you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact us via live chat or by email at support@ontram.com.